really thrive on that. And I think what's so interesting about the engineering background, especially, as a male, when you go into college, it's a lot of people, it's like, are you business? Are you engineering? And if
Yeah.
you're female, is it like business or nursing? Or, it's somewhere along those lines, not to stereotype people, but that seemed to be every time when I was a freshman in college, it was like, what do you major in? You could already
Mhm.
guess what someone majored in to a certain extent. But
Yep.
like with the engineering, I just think it's very powerful. And something like the IT people, like they have a certain kind of mindset with being able to fix problems. And that's really so crucial in the business world with how do you react when there's a challenge? Do you kind of turn the other way or is it something you're looking to solve? So I think that's super beneficial. And when you're kind of evaluating opportunities, just thinking about your strengths and weaknesses is very powerful. And, you mentioned your family, they were in kind of corporate America for a while. And then can you kind of just describe, was it mother, father that both made the investment into the franchise? Were they both in corporate America? What was kind of the decision process like to find iTrip? And then was it just like sick of corporate America? But you kind of mentioned they always had that entrepreneurial itch through your grandparents as well. So there was kind of always something they considered, or as someone kind of considering if franchising's for them, they've been in corporate America for a while, help them kind of understand that similar mindset.
Yeah, so the way that my dad had always put it was that he was just he always wanted to do something on his own. He was
Mhm.
trying to find something, but he was always too much of a chicken to actually get started. He didn't want to he didn't want to make the big jump. I
Yeah.
would never say that about him, but that's what he says. So I'm going to use his words. So that was really it. He just finally got to a point to where he felt like it was the right time. My mom, she was not in corporate America. She did work, but she was not in corporate America. So she helped with the business. She was more along the administrative lines in the business.
Okay.
It was primarily my dad, and of course, being married, it was a combined investment into
Mhm.
the business, and they both worked into the business, but it was primarily my dad that was working full time in the business, and then my mom was part time. So yeah, it was just a really good time when we started. It was in 2009. So iTrip was founded in 2008. Family business started in 2009, and the business was actually not a franchise at that time. It was a software licensure model, and then
Oh,
it
wow.
transitioned. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. So we transitioned to the franchise model in 2015. And like you mentioned before, the my dad, he's got a lot of great skills, and he had some entrepreneurial experience in his life, but it was pretty foreign to him.
Mhm.
He had no familiarity with short-term rental properties at all. Never owned a short-term rental property. Maybe stayed in one a time or two. And again, this is 2009, so Airbnb is not even a big platform at this point, not the household name that it is now. So he had no experience in that whatsoever. And like you mentioned, the franchise model is the biggest benefit is that it plays on your strengths and it helps your weaknesses, right? In my opinion, at least.
Yeah.
Especially with someone like yourself, and you're helping someone find it from day one. He didn't work with anyone to help him find a franchise when he was looking. He happened to just know the guys that were starting it, and got in at the right time, kind of a happenstance kind of thing. But
Yeah.
but if you were to work with someone like yourself that can really help identify those strengths, identify what he's been doing for so long, and what he can play on, and then what the weaknesses are that he could really use some support from the franchise organization. Again, that kind of takes there's a lot of questions early on. Is this the right one for me?
Yeah.
Am I actually a good fit for it? You help answer all those questions for him, so it would have taken all of that kind of headache, all that worry away from him. But either way, again, it turned out to be a fantastic thing for us. So kind
Mhm.
of an interesting start to getting into business anyway.
Yeah, that's super powerful. A lot of things you said, and your words with kind of being the chicken, and not like you're a chicken for not doing a certain thing or doing something a right way. And we kind of talked on the previous episodes on there's not a right way or a wrong way to do things. Everyone just has a certain path. Really, the goal is just whatever makes you happy. We want to help you with that. And on episode one, Dennis Schooley brought up how 70% of people think about being a business owner, and you and I know it's probably less than 1%, even probably even explore that option. So we just want to help people make that educated decision. You know, business ownership may or may not be right for you. Franchising may or may not be right for you, but just allowing you to make that educated decision, I think, is really powerful. And one of the things you kind of brought up is when your family first got involved in iTrip, it wasn't actually a franchise. But today, you know, it's a very explosive franchise with, you know, I think over 100 franchisees